Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas to all you little boys and girls out there. And of course, today we're going to be suffering through a Harman Smith video. My gift to you guys, because quite frankly, I don't know what I could give you guys except for trying to be better. No, lately I've been kind of in a good, what's the best way to put it? I have not been in a good mood lately. And that reaction stream I did of Harman before just really, I don't even think it was good. And I got called out, and it's just like, I'd rather just make something for you guys. I'd rather, try to actually make a decent video instead of a rushed video. So, with all that said, let's get into Harman Smith's The Luigi's, the worst video games of 2023. Now, for the record, I am going to be skipping around here, mostly because it's a long video. It's 42 minutes. Holy shit, 42 minutes of Harman Smith. Yeah. You guys know I must like it if I want to suffer like this. So, I'm mostly just going to find some of the highlights, the big points, and probably try to cover games at least I've played, because guarantee there's going to at least be a few in here that he's going to have a problem with. Mostly because, well, Harman Smith just seems to hate everything that isn't Nintendo, and even then, some Nintendo games get popped up on his radar because YouTubers like it. So with that said, let's get into the video.
2023 was a great year for video games, if you were a Nintendo fan. All year long, we were told by these game journalists, by these YouTubers, by these shows that this is one of the best years in gaming ever. We're loaded with major titles like Final Fantasy 16, Starfield, and Diablo 4, all of which are guaranteed to be huge, massive hits. But in spite of all the publicity, in spite of all the promotion, in spite of all the praise, in spite of all the hype, each and every one of these titles failed.
You know, it wouldn't be a Harman Smith video without him telling us how to feel about games and tell us how to feel about journalists, because it's all a giant conspiracy, man. The journalists are trying to control us. They're trying to control us, man, by telling us what games they like, and thus we're supposed to like, even though that's not how game journalism works, or reviews. Reviews and journalism are simply giving their opinion on some things. Well, not so much journalism unless they do, I guess you would say a soapbox piece. But no, Harman, just because some people out there that are reviewers, YouTubers, so on and so forth, like a game, doesn't mean they're trying to push their, their favorite game or a game they like onto people. They're just giving their opinion, and you can either take it or leave it.
I was completely taken aback by the sheer amount of stuff. I had to check my list several times because I forgot several essential entries. This is gonna be a doozy. But now, let us begin the Luigi's 2023. FromSoft fanboys really want to forget that this was the big Game Awards announcement last year in 2022. Aw man, Armored Core is gonna come back after the success of Elden Ring. This is going to bring Mecha back in full force. It's gonna be this huge deal. It's gonna win Game of the Year because From Software are the best developers in the industry, and Nintendo can't even come close. People forget there was legit discussion about this being the best game of 2023 because FromSoft fanboys are that delusional about the quality of the company's products. But upon release, the game did middling, and the company declared it a disappointment. It sold 3 million units.
This is just further proof that Harman Smith will not let From Software ever take a W. And I mean this, sincerely, this man has a hate boner from FromSoft. And not because of what FromSoft themselves have done, but because they're fans and what their fans say. They say, oh, this is better than anything Nintendo puts out. Harman Smith has an immediate hate boner for the game then. And it won't be just the game. It'll be the developers. Even though this is an obscure franchise and an obscure type of game, he certainly thinks this has got to be as good as Elden Ring, which is not the case. Not every game has to be as good as your last one. Some games you make just because you're passionate about it, and while it might not be for everyone, it's for someone. And again, man, this is what's so annoying about Harman Smith in general. He pushes his opinions on people while telling you that your opinions being pushed, or journalists are pushing their opinions on people. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. He's literally calling out the journalists for doing what he's doing. And folks, if you think it doesn't get worse than this already, oh no. You guys are getting the benefit. The benefit of me going through this stuff and editing. Because, well, there's going to be something that happens soon. I'm going to play the clip and it's daunting as hell. Like, this confirms this man does not freaking check his video. Even I, right now, am checking my audio. I'm doing everything I can to make sure this is a pleasant experience for you guys. I'm balancing the audio. I'm balancing, I'm literally watching right now as my microphone picks up all the sound. And I'm not trying to go too high. But just watch what happens.
Very, very long time. Blizzard was never a good developer, and I will be very glad to see them go. One of the more baffling things that
come from this year's Game Awards, and my personal reason why I will no longer be supporting them going forward was the blatant and irresponsible shilling for CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk 2077. This game was always supposed to be the next big thing. It was supposed to be the game that would kick off the next generation. It was supposed to be the next BioWare, the next Bethesda. It was supposed to usher in a new age of Western video game open world RPGs. This was supposed to be a big deal, and this game was a complete and total failure. And we are still in this weird period where CD Projekt Red is struggling to regain their credibility, trying to fix the game, trying to get people to like it, and it just isn't panning out very well. Nobody really cares. They released a DLC expansion this year, and nobody bought or played it. It's honestly kind of embarrassing. But what's worse about this is just how much the gaming media is trying to convince us that this is a fixed product, that CD Projekt Red has come back and saved the game from irrelevancy. That is never, ever going to happen.
Oh, guys, you could taste it, right? You could taste the salt. My God, my palate is overwhelmed with the saltiness that he just spewed about Cyberpunk 2077. Now, I'm telling you guys right now, yes, at launch, this game was not in the best shape. In fact, it was in a very bad shape. But now with patch 2.0, or I guess actually update 2.0, the game is so much better. Like, my God. I could sit here and gush about how they made such big improvements. Clothing no longer have any effect on your actual stats. Thank you, God. That's one thing I always hate in RPGs is when clothing affects your stats and they look ugly as sin. Hey, I got this really nice outfit that's like +5 armor. Looks like shit, but I gotta wear it. Like, there was so much changed about Cyberpunk, and it's like the best version of this game that could exist. This is like the game we basically were promised. Yes, Project CD Red struggled. They actually apparently have a history of struggling with games at launch. The original Witcher game had problems at launch, and guess what? They had to release an enhanced edition where it was better. Witcher 3, same thing. I actually heard their Witcher 2 on 360. Yeah, I remember that was on the 360. Also had similar problems. But you know what? Project CD Red, they're ballers, man. They're A+ in my book because at least they actually tried to fix this game. And they did. 100%. This isn't developers. This isn't a hype. This is me telling you as someone who bought, Cyberpunk 2077, the day, I wouldn't say the day it came out, but like once I started hearing about these small updates and I played the game originally, I was like, man, this game is just kind of missing the mark. I'm telling you right now, this is hands down one of the best comeback stories for a freaking video game. And I haven't even touched this DLC yet, which I've heard a lot of people say is really good. Like, on the same caliber as The Witcher Blood and Wine, which if you guys don't know, I love the Witcher franchise. That's my jam next to that franchise and not Baldur's Gate. Cause like, man, if it's on the same level as that, but it was like a fraction of the price, you know what, man? I might be in for a pleasant surprise. So yeah. Harman, you can sit there, cope and sieve all you want, but but real gamers actually play games and just don't sit there and go, but I don't like them because someone said they're better than Nintendo. Because that's all this is going to boil down to is someone said this was better than anything Nintendo's made, and guess what? You got upset about, you got salty about it. But the next one might be interesting for a different reason. This isn't going to be a third-party game, by the way. This isn't going to be a Sony game. This isn't going to be an Xbox game. It's going to be a Nintendo game. And of all things, it's because a YouTuber likes it.
I gave an extremely negative review to Pikmin 4 when it first came out, and after going back and playing Pikmin 1 and Pikmin 3 again, especially Pikmin 3, I've really come to appreciate just how much better those games actually are than this nonsense. There is no strategy, there is no depth, there are creative aspects to the game, but they don't mesh very well. This is such an underwhelming entry to the series that I honestly am not optimistic about the future of the franchise going forward. This was a huge disappointment.
So, if you guys don't know, Arlo is a big fan of Pikmin. He actually even named Pikmin 4 as his game of the year this year. And of course, Harman doesn't like Arlo. Arlo's kind of recognized as the Nintendo guy. A Nintendo guy people actually respect, next to beat 'em ups, Slash Woods, and a couple other people out there. And I know this bites at Harman just a little bit, maybe not a lot, but guys, just know the history between him and Arlo. It's so one-sided. Arlo's never made a video about him. Arlo's never even talked about Harman Smith, and Harman has made numerous videos talking about Arlo, and for some reason they called him a Muppet, like that was an insult. It's like, no, it's literally a Muppet. It's like, no shit, duh. And listen, I have not played Pikmin 4. I have not played even in Pikmin outside of the first one. But from what I heard, and it seemed like it was the general consensus, while this one does have disappointing elements at times, it seemed like this was, more just people were happy just to have it, and then the franchise to just remain dormant. So that's all I know about Pikmin. I ain't gonna sit here and pretend I'm actually a Pikmin expert. I was excited for Pikmin 4 just because I know this was a dormant franchise a lot of people wanted to see come back, and hey, we got Pikmin 4. And of course, Harman Smith has to poop on people's parade because, anyone actually enjoying a game that he doesn't enjoy, guess what? He's got to try to show them their parade.
I completely forgot that they tried to release The Last of Us Part 1 this year. I forgot that they re-released this thing and that everybody made fun of it. Apparently everyone else forgot it too.
Of course, he put The Last of Us on here. I've said this so many times. I'm just going to say it. It's my franchise. It's my franchise. I like, and you don't have to like The Last of Us. I would never say I would force upon anyone to like The Last of Us. Honestly, at the end of the day, I do think it's a bit overrated. I do think the franchise gets way more credit than it should, but then at the same time, it is that damn good. Now, he's regarding the PC port here, and yes, the PC port at launch was not good. It was a terrible state, and it just made Naughty Dog more of a laughingstock on top of what's also happened the rest of this year. So, Naughty Dog's been taking L's, and yeah, I feel like the launch of this port was terrible, and they should have been, handing out refunds because of how bad the game was in the state. Some people, I feel like, we're kind of going a little bit over the top, calling it a fraud, calling it a scam, when it's like you did get a game, it just wasn't a super functional game. So that's my opinion on the whole thing, and it just shows that this is all about cope. This is all about pettiness on his end. It's all about just trying to take those cheap little digs we all know he's going to take, because that's his personality in a nutshell. He has to make fun of something in order to feel better about himself. Whatever. He also went over Starfield. I'm going to be honest. A part of me wants to sit there and say I disagree with him just because it's Harman Smith. But I also I kind of agreed with some of his opinions, and I don't want that out there to be known. Now, at the end of the day, do I think Starfield is a bad game? Hell no. Just like how I don't think Cyberpunk was a bad game at launch. I think it had disappointments, I think people set up too high, and of course, it fell apart. Whenever you put a game at a 10, that's a lot to ask from developers. I've always, said people should temper their expectations. Instead of being at a 10, maybe be an 8, a 7, probably at most a 6. So that's all I have to say on the Starfield end because, like I said, it was also like one of his longer sections, which just makes it hard for me to sit here and edit because you guys notice I did speed up the video his end because he takes so long and he has so many of these weird pauses that just kind of breaks the flow of the video. So that's why I've also been speeding them up if you can't tell.
It's interesting to see Spider-Man 2 fail the way it did. The original was overhyped, primarily because it came out at the height of Marvel's popularity, but it's been 5 years since then, right? The Marvel thing is dead. Nobody cares about the films anymore. The characters are less popular than ever. People are starting to be cringed by, to find this stuff cringy, and Spider-Man 2 is definitely caught in the middle of that. Hardcore fans are put off by the lore changes and the ridiculous story decisions. From what I've seen, it's some of the worst, writing in any video game I've seen in recent years. I'm told it's basically a walking simulator if you just stick with the story missions. The shilling for Miles Morales and Mary Jane is obnoxious. Venom is like Harry Osborn apparently. Even I, who have never been a big Spider-Man fan, know how ridiculous that is. It feels like Insomniac simply doesn't understand what makes Spider-Man appealing to people, and if they are failing to make Spider-Man products that work.
The last thing I would call Spider-Man 2 is a failure. I mean, the game actually sold pretty well received by a lot of people, to the point that some people actually out there thought it was going to beat out Baldur's Gate for Game of the Year. Those people need to play BG3. But I wouldn't say Spider-Man 2 is a bad game. I would say it's actually pretty well done. I think it's definitely the best Spider-Man game we've gotten from Insomniac. And yeah, some of the stuff with Miles is a little... I'll admit this. The Miles stuff, he kind of feels like he's kind of off to the side. But the Harry Osborn stuff, hell yeah, 100% in on that. Because a lot of times Harry is kind of pushed aside, oh, you don't have superpowers, so you don't matter. But in this case, he actually gave Harry the Venom powers, and you see how it kind of starts corrupting him. And then when it gets to Peter, it starts corrupting him too. It's like the Venom suit really just kind of eats at their worst traits. And I really like the Spider-Man 2 story. Yes, it's got problems. Yes, it's got, some glaring problems. But overall, the base story I really like. And who the fuck plays Spider-Man as a walking simulator? What? Yo, man, he has said some dumb things throughout this whole thing. But calling Spider-Man a walking simulator is like calling a racing game a walking simulator. Who the fuck is playing this game, just straight up walking? The point of playing a Spider-Man game is to be web swinging, right? The traversal is so much better in this one too. Oh my god. I could sit here and gush about just how much fun it is just swinging around as Peter or Miles, and just how they each have their own style to it, and just there's just so much goodness in that traversal system alone that justifies, the upgraded, I guess you would say, graphics and all that. And at the end of the day, I don't think Spider-Man 2 is anything super amazing. I don't think it's the best game of the year, but I definitely think it's in my top 5 of the year. Probably on the lower end, but still, I think it's a damn good game. And it's because it's Sony. It's because of Sony, and it's because of Spider-Man. He doesn't like it, naturally. Again, going back to just, regurgitating this point. He's coping and seething because it's not on Nintendo Switch. If this was on Nintendo Switch, he might have actually given this game a chance, but he hasn't, because that's Harman Smith in a nutshell. If it's on Sony, Microsoft, PC, he doesn't even want to try.
Game of the Year 2023. I know this came out in January and nothing else has come out yet, but Hi-Fi Rush is one of the best games of the year. What a joke. I found that so cringy when people started coming out with this line. It was obviously a very blatant viral marketing campaign by Microsoft. They had paid shows go on YouTube and 4chan promoting this game for a couple of weeks after it came out. Oh, it's stealth launched on Steam for $30 out of nowhere? Whoa, no company has ever done anything like that before. The game was billed as being an offbeat, kind of different action game, right? Something that Xbox wouldn't normally be involved in, right? Kind of like Sunset Overdrive and stuff like that. And every time they do this, like, their attempts just kind of fall flat, right? Like, the game is made by people who have backgrounds at, like, Clover and Platinum Games, who have a portfolio of games that are way better than this. The main reason people talked about it was primarily because, like, oh, there's nothing else like it. Bro, if you've played Clover games, if you've played Platinum games, you've played better action games than this. Like, this game is not special. And that was kind of my problem with it, is just the blatant treatment of this as if it was some phenomenal thing, when really it was just an action game that came out on a console that doesn't typically have action games like it, right? It is a game that was quickly forgotten, and this time next year, nobody will even remember that it even exists.
Very much disagree with this one. Hi-Fi Rush is, in my opinion, a very well done game. In fact, I would actually argue this game is better than anything else Microsoft put out for the rest of the year. I mean, like, I know it came very early in the year, but it's like, honestly, looking at the game, watching people play this game, I'm actually pleasantly surprised how much, how good this game is, and how they just dropped it, like, out of nowhere. So, again, I disagree with Harman. I think Hi-Fi Rush is a very well done game, and you guys should go check it out, especially if you have Game Pass. It's a fun little rhythm-based action hack and slash game. And that right there, that description, you don't see a lot of those, and you probably won't see a lot of those. Maybe we'll get a Hi-Fi Rush 2 one day.
Their game through a remake. Although Forspoken
For whatever reason, Baldur's Gate 3 has spawned an audience that is completely delusional about its success. These people think this is one of the best games of the year, that it has all these innovative, amazing gameplay elements, that it's some spectacular thing, but in actuality, it's a niche product that nobody outside of their core D&D demographic really knows anything or cares about. The fact that this game could win the Game of the Year award and get, like, no hype or discussion at all, what ended up happening instead is that people just made fun of Starfield, Harry Potter, Zelda, and Spider-Man instead, right? The discussion regarding this product never had anything to do with itself, right? It never really stood on its own feet. When it got a 96 on Metacritic, all anybody could do was just brag about how it was better than Zelda, right? Like, all they could do was just compare it to other games. But in reality, I've never heard anyone describe the experience of playing Baldur's Gate 3. I've never heard anyone do a good job explaining what makes the game compelling, right? Everything I've heard sounds dumb and lame as all out. If anything, this reminds me a lot of Skyrim or Fallout New Vegas, right? Mid-Western RPGs that were pushed to the forefront at the time because there was really nothing else like them on the market. And I think that's what this all boils down to. There is no competition.
Bitch, I'll never forgive you for this. You're gonna regret it.
So, for the record, I did actually take this bit, and this was actually earlier in the video, surprisingly, and I decided, hey, let's put it at the end, because I know he's gonna put Baldur's Gate 3 on his list, and I got some words for it. Yo, Dre, I got something to say, so hear me out. Baldur's Gate 3 is the best game of this year. Fuck that. Fuck that. No. See, now you know I'm energized. Now you know I give a shit. I'm not going to call Baldur's Gate 3 the best game of the year. It's the best game of the year. Easy. No. I'm calling this game the fucking GOAT.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
I'm calling this game the GOAT of RPGs. Y'all motherfuckers need to recognize Larian Studios for how great they fucking are. They made a game based off Dungeons and Dragons, the most successful game of this year. They somehow got my fucking ADHD riddled ass to sit down and look at stats. And you hear a fucking spoonful because I'm hitting the desk. It got my ADHD riddle ass to sit there and look at stats. And I got to shout out my homie Nick Jones, aka Bree Killer, for encouraging me to get this game. He was excited for this game. And you know what, bro? You fucking called this one. You said I would like it, and man, I don't like this game. No. I fucking love this game. It is everything I've wanted in an RPG for the longest time. It has choices. It has consequences. The classes actually mean something. Yes! Finally, I could play as a sorcerer and not sit there and have a sword in my hand, still be like, oh, but I can do it really well. No. Baldur's Gate 3 is the definition of GOAT. GOAT. Greatest of all time. It's the GOAT. It's the GOAT. It's the CM Punk. It's the fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's the fucking Rock of freaking video games. And y'all motherfuckers who are sitting there coping and seething like Harman Smith is need to sit the fuck down and shut your mouth. You need to shut your mouth, because Metal Man Jabroni, no one cares what you think. Not only are people loving this game is super successful. It has no microtransactions, no planned DLC as of right now. This game is 100% pure what we expect from game developers, and baby, it is good. It is the good shit. You don't need cocaine. You don't need meth. You don't need weed when you play Baldur's Gate 3. Because Baldur's Gate 3 is a drug. It's an addiction. Because once you start playing this shit and know how to play it, unlike DSP's fucking dumbass, you are going to love this game. And I'm telling you guys, I fucking love Baldur's Gate 3. I know I'm being air checked. I know I'm getting a little rowdy. But man, you put this on the worst games list. Bitch, you have no fucking clue what a good game is. You're sitting there playing fucking Super Mario. Yeah, I'm playing Super Mario. I'm playing Zelda. I'm playing 13 fucking Sentinels? So you think a game like 13 Sentinels is better than Baldur's Gate 3? Shut your ass up, boy. Shut your ass up. I want to... My nephew... I know I keep running with this joke. He's my nephew. He's not really, for the record. But I want to find his mother and just say, how fucking dare you give birth to this fucking mutation of a human being? How fucking dare you? You owe the world an apology. You owe me an apology. You owe everyone in this fucking universe who's ever heard the fucking words Harman Smith an apology. Yes, folks, I know I'm being air checked. I know I'm being a little crazy. But what can I say? Could not disagree more. I think this game is one of the best. I think this game deserves all the love and respect it's getting from not just the D&D community, but RPG lovers like me. If you are tired of Japanese games that fucking shove the tutorial in your face without any fucking actual explaining of the game, if you are tired of Western developed games that just feel super, utter, underwhelming like Starfield, you owe it to yourself to play Baldur's Gate 3. Yes, the game's a little horny. Yeah, this game's a little horny. But you know what? When did being horny be a bad thing? When did it become a bad thing to actually enjoy, sex? You want to bang a fucking, you want to bang a bard? You can bang a bard. You want to bang, I don't know, a freaking, you want to bang a furry? You can bang a furry. I know, hey, different strokes for different folks. You want to bang a drow elf who's a dom mommy? Hey man, go for it. Go for it. If you want to play RPG that has such depth mechanics that it just makes you shocked every time you play it, just having a potion, like speaking of animals, opens a whole new gateway, a whole new freaking quest, or just new rewards and everything. You want to play as a sorcerer? You can play as a sorcerer. You want to play as a paladin? You can play as a paladin. But you gotta remember, you can't be breaking that oath unless you want to be Oathbreaker subclass. This game is the definition to me of what an RPG should be. And there's a reason why a lot of the industry didn't want you to talk about this game. Because they knew this game embarrasses them. It embarrasses them. and I love it. I love this game. Put the game industry on blast. So yes, that is the video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This has sure as hell been a long process, but I had to go on this whole tangent about Baldur's Gate 3 because I don't know if you guys have caught on to it, but I like the game quite a bit, and I owe it to a friend. Thank you for recommending this game because, man, I do love it. And dipshits like Harman Smith will never understand true greatness because they think too narrowly. They think in that, super hallway mindset that only this could be good or only this could be good. Bitch, you need to expand your horizons. So until next time, guys, this is that PlayStation Gamer sign out. Don't forget to like, comment, all that YouTube algorithm BS. And I want to, again, wish you all a Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, or just day you sit at home and play video games day. I don't know what you celebrate, but happy holidays, and I hope everyone has a great day. Make sure to eat some extra stuffing or whatever the hell you guys serve, and make sure to spend time with your family, because trust me when I say this, family, while it might last forever, bodies sure as hell don't. Peace out, and have a good day.